Hello and welcome to Claire's World. I am Claire, and today I will be sharing with you more information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who will be asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session, unless she specifies that the question comes from someone else. And when I refer to me, I'm talking of myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th. And before we move forward, I would like to thank you as always for subscribing to my channel and for liking and commenting on this video. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to start reading here. Lorrayne, has the Metaverse project failed? The 25th. Yeah. Lorrayne, has Zuckerberg gone? Me. Yes. Lorrayne, there are people who disputed Facebook's decision to censor their post and were told that there is not enough staff to look into the matter further. Are people not wanting to work there anymore? Me. No, and actually they're aware of this. And yeah, it's over. It's over for these companies. It is over. They changed the metaverse. They were trying to push the ultimate agenda, which was the virtual reality. Everybody in these pods, basically a little bit like the Matrix. You attach to something and then you pretend that you live differently from how you actually live in your mind. And all of that has failed. They pushed it. You know, a lot of people think they've been pushing these things because they were ready. The truth is they pushed these things too early when they were not ready because it was ride or die. I think that's the saying, meaning that they had this window of opportunity and they had to push. This was their biggest final bang and it completely fizzled. So yes, Facebook is done. It's over. It's finished. And Metaverse was never even, it was a stillbirth, really. It's never going to happen. Lorrayne, thank goodness. Okay. In general, what is happening with social media apps? It looks like they're changing for the worst, while saying that it's because people are changing their taste. What is the truth? Me. Yeah, they're always pushing in a certain direction and saying it's because of people. We're just not following them anymore. Again, we're free agents. A lot of things that we thought had to be a certain way. Oh, I'm going to be working until I'm 55, then I'm going to retire and basically play golf or watch TV for another 30 years, and I'm going to die. It's just all bets off. Now, obviously, we know the SSs are gone. The NPCs would be doing whatever they've been doing, but all bets are off in the sense that you don't know what anybody's doing anymore. A lot of NPCs are also acting irregular, so you don't know what to expect. In fact, there are questions coming up about Claire. She's had some really weird run-ins with people, and she's wondering, she's like, what is this? Is this an NPC? What's going on? And that's exactly what it is. The NPCs are freaking out. They lose time. They lose memories. They lose everything. NPCs are not supposed to be the majority on the planet. And they're not supposed to run a planet. You cannot run a planet with NPCs. This also answers a question Claire has asked many times, which is, why can we just leave this planet to the NPCs and we just move on? You can't. You can't because NPCs break down. You would have complete chaos and mayhem here in no time. Already as we interact with NPCs, that's one reason many of us don't feel as social, don't want to go out as much. You will notice people acting very erratically. We don't want to do this. And NPCs are not capable of catching themselves if anything goes wrong. And so we just downregulate and become complete chaos. It's almost like having robots running around that are short-circuiting. And I don't know if you guys have had odd things happen around you. I've had enough to where I'm like, okay, this is very, very strange. Because I thought we're all pretending until the end, but the NPCs truly cannot handle it. Some of them have been without an essence for months now, and clearly they're feeling it. Okay, excuse me. Lorrayne, it's never made any sense to me, the whole NPC thing anyway. Honestly, I think without an essence, there's no point. That's my opinion. Okay, there was a newspaper article that said that the head of the WHO, Tedros, was arrested by Interpol. Is this true? Is Interpol even working on investigating or arresting I think it's Interpol, maybe. I don't know how you pronounce that. Even working on investigating or arresting the pushers of the pandemic narrative. Me. Yes, so again, because of the balance switching, doesn't mean everybody at Interpol is good or they've turned to the light all of a sudden. They're not of the light. But some people have started getting the upper hand and they're starting to clean up house. So in that sense, it is true. Yes, there are people that are being apprehended, but it wouldn't be the thing. Not only the thing that we see in an official manner, but it also wouldn't even satisfy us. We wanted to be motivated by punishment over here, waiting for these people to finally be publicly punished for disclosure, whatever it may be. You wouldn't get the satisfaction. You wouldn't. These are not people like us saying, oh, I already know these people do this thing. Let's go get them. Let's put an end to it. Doesn't work that way. Still a 3D way of doing things. So even Tedros, yeah, he's been apprehended, and then what? What proof do they have against him? Yeah, of course, if you want to have proof, you can have proof of all kinds of stuff he's done that has nothing even to do with the pandemic. I mean, he's a war criminal. He's done crimes against humanity. But how do you prove this? It's not just a matter of one day. That's why we talked before about the fact that these tribunals in the background, they've been going on for years. They will continue going on for years and years, if not decades. You know, people will be dead before we get to all of them. So that is not the solution, but just something that somebody's doing. So it's great. Again, we're very grateful for this. But again, we wouldn't see it in 3D like this. That's why these things are so hush-hush. Now, some of these things are not true, but some are. And again, it's been happening. And again, what's the big deal? Have we seen any difference from it, from people being apprehended? I mean, you still see the Clintons and the Obamas on television like nothing happened. So what difference does it make that the originals are gone? Now, it makes a difference because the originals were doing all the dark things they were doing. So that is not happening anymore. So that definitely makes a difference. But for our perusal, for our experience, what difference does it make? Nothing. You still see their face. Lorrayne, unfortunately, yes. How is and I cannot say this word, I'm going to call it, but it's talking about the little animal, and then, I'm going to call it POCUS. So I'm going to call it the furry POCUS, which is the latest danger emergency that they're trying to push on us because the flu, the famous flu failed. So how is the furry POCUS narrative going? And is there even a furry POCUS virus at all? CLEA has seen photos of the so-called furry POCUS scabs that were recycled photos of shingles. Some are saying that it's only transmitted through homosexual sex. Is this another attempt to target gay couples like they did with AIDS? Some are saying that it is a side effect of the famous flu thing. What is true? Me. So we said many times that the only way to disempower and remove, dissolve a dark reality, as many of us want to say that we want, that we intend to do, is by removing our energy from it, our attention from it. If you notice, whether you consider it a dark agenda, saying they're trying to target gay couples, or you consider it the plot twist or the narrative of the intel community, saying, oh no, this is a side effect of this thing, do you see? They're still pushing the fear agenda. It's all the same. Whether you're pro or you're against, you're still supporting it. And the fact is, none of that is true. So first of all, we already said viruses do not exist, okay? However, we've also said that if you are a scientist and you want to believe in viruses, you will find proof of it because you will see anything. You will manifest anything that you want to experience. And so with viruses, you can have people get together and say, oh, there's a virus here, and they will see it. Now, is there a furry POCUS virus? Technically, yes. Some people think they've seen it, but is this what we're seeing? It's not. It's the usual, it's the same thing they did with the famous flu or cold. Was it a cold? Was it a flu? Who knows? It's the same thing they did with the flu. And they just make up, pay a few people to say these things. Some people you don't even have to pay. They're already so influenced that you just tell them and they'll just go along with it. But the initial ones you have to pay. They've had to pay all these people. They've been working on this agenda, on this narrative since the summer, because they already saw that the famous flu was coming down. So they were trying to prepare the next thing. And now they're talking about a new one. I can't even remember what it was. Oh, it's like this virus, a brain-eating virus that came out of Africa. And they were laughing because it is ridiculous. Yeah, it's going to be, listen, if you put lawyers in charge, you're going to have a bunch of lawsuits all the time. Lawsuits will never end. If you put doctors in charge, you will have diseases galore until the eye can see. That's all it is. It's their business. They have to create diseases of some kind. Now, it doesn't mean they're actually creating diseases. All they have to do is create the expectation that this exists, and then you're going to experience it for yourself. You're going to manifest it for yourself if you're interested. This is all they do. They just come up with stuff, and people go right along with it. Something that used to be a cold, now all of a sudden is a famous cold, or the famous flu, whatever. Excuse me. All right, Lorrayne. It's a collective agreement. It's not even collective. How many people do you need to say, hey, I got it, for other people to believe that it exists? So for example, Claire is always, you know, it's normal when you get a cold, you cannot smell anything, you cannot taste anything. It might linger, and all of a sudden that's a sign. Oh, it's the famous flu. I mean, if you want to believe it's a sign, go ahead. Claire's even seen articles of experts. I never knew who the experts were. They never tell you names because otherwise you go and find them at their house, right? And they were laughing here. Experts say that if you are convinced that you have the famous flu and you test yourself and it's negative, and every time you test, it's still negative, doesn't mean you don't have it. Because if you're convinced that you have it, you should go with your gut. They were laughing here because it is pretty funny, actually. These are the experts. We're trying to say, yes, they have recycled pictures. They've created a narrative that does not exist. There is no scare. There's no emergency. There's no nothing. Some people are saying, oh, it's to target the gay community. Again, the people that are trying to minimize this are saying, oh, it's not another famous flu. It only attacks certain people. They're still in the narrative. You see how they're supporting it. There is no furry pocus. Sorry, sometimes I forget the fake names I give these things. There is no furry pocus. Furry pocus is a non-thing, but they're trying to make it a thing. And the people that are saying, oh no, but it's not as bad as they're saying, it's just as bad, you know, a much smaller bad. It's still bad. You're still supporting it. And the people that are saying, oh no, it's the people with the thing, because we're still trying to feel special that we didn't take it, and those people took it, and so now they deserve it. And you might not be telling yourself this. You might say, oh no, I don't want them to. But in the meanwhile, I'm perfectly okay saying, oh, look at the bad things that are happening. See, I was right. That's what's going on behind the scenes. The fact is, none of this is true. There is no furry pocus. And we already know even the effects from this thing. You don't have to have effects from this thing. It's people who wanted to experience certain things. The essence wanted to experience certain things. They sure found a way to do it, because we said this thing can definitely unsettle the body. So yes, if the essence is not there to say, no, I want nothing to do with this, you will have side effects. And we've seen plenty of those. And some are very, very scary, very, very unfortunate. So we're not even going to go, we're going to get to the point of talking about death. But again, the same thing with the furry pocus. Why are we going along with it? And I'm talking about the people that are reading against it. Why are you even talking about it? Why is this a thing for you is the question. Are you wanting this new narrative to pop up? Claire doesn't even think about it. She forgets about it. Every time she hears it, she thinks, oh, that's funny. Furry pocus does not exist for her. Therefore, furry pocus does not exist in the world. She doesn't see it because it doesn't exist for her. So again, what do you want to see? Whatever you want to see, you expect to see, you will find. We've explained this concept at length. Lorrayne, exactly, thank you. Okay, New York City Emergency Management is now telling New Yorkers to have a go bag and be ready to evacuate on short notice. They're also telling them how to deal with radiation and nuclear attacks. What do they have planned? There were videos saying that all cameras pointing east have been turned off on the coast. Me, Yeah, so they had planned an explosion, a nuclear explosion in the water off the coast, and they were expecting a tsunami as well, and close enough to New York to make sure that all there would be affected. Because really, at an essence level, they're figuring if people stayed there after what they've done, these people want these dark agendas. And I want to repeat this because this explains how we work so well. I don't know if you guys, if you're watching this from outside the United States, I don't know if you know that New York went completely ballistic, just like California, in dealing with the pandemic. And people there, a lot of people have justified it. They went right along with it and was fine. Now we know the essence is in charge. This is not to judge. Clearly, they wanted to experience something. Nobody's a victim. But the dark is watching this because, of course, we all know exactly what's going on. So here they're saying that they were going to cause all of this. And they're saying, because really at an essence level, the dark is figuring if people stayed in New York after what they've done, these people want these dark agendas. So at the end of the day, we do vote with our feet. A lot of people have left New York because of what's happened, because that's what they learned. I don't want to be here. You see, the problem is when you allow these things to happen and you don't pull yourself out, you put yourself in a place where certain things can happen. But none of this is going to happen, of course. It's a scare tactic. An operation like this would take so many resources. They don't have them anymore. They haven't had them for a long time because you know how long they've been threatening nuclear attacks everywhere. Nuclear bomb here, nuclear bomb there. If they had had the chance, they would have done it many times. Wouldn't that have been easier than to try to kill people through these things when you could just explode a few nuclear bombs around the planet? They couldn't do it. We never wanted that. We didn't want annihilation of the human species on this planet. So yeah, it's more like stories, scary stories. And again, in New York, they want these. They're still, now less and less people want this, but New York would be, what we're trying to say is that New York would be an obvious place for them to do something like this. How long have they been prepped for this? Just look at movies. Every time there's an attack in the movies, alien invasion, anything bad, it happens in New York. So they're primed for this. New Yorkers are primed for this, you see? So they're hoping that they all go along. This can happen, but it's not going to happen. They're not even, all it is, they're talking about it. It's all words. There is nothing going on behind the scenes because they can't have it. It's just more fear. And you know, when they mentioned this fact that all the movies are like that, I don't know why I have never, so many people are crazy about New York, including my boyfriend. He was thinking, oh, I would love to move there. It has never attracted me. I've been there a million times. And every time I'm thinking, I don't want to be here. It feels like a beehive. And the fact that you are so collectivistic there, you have to survive when there are so many people, of course. The idea is that you have to sacrifice yourself as an individual. Absolutely never had any interest in New York. And now it explains it. I'm like, every time something bad happens, it's supposed to happen in New York. I'm like, I'll stay in St. Louis. Nobody cares about St. Louis. All right, Lorrayne. Okay. EDC asks, do nukes exist? And if not, what destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki? Me. No, nukes did exist. Well, they do exist. The bombs do exist, but they've been taken off the table for a long time. We did not want them. We were scared. We got scared when we saw them released, and we didn't want that again. So they do exist, but they haven't been really viable for a long time. So that is good news. I'm going to stop this video here on this piece of bright news. And I want to thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.